Hi, I'm Stig. I've been actually playing around with industrial data for quite a lot of years, and I've learned and failed and learned and failed and learned and failed, and I've been coding with really good people and with people who don't know that much. And a lot of people are asking me, where do I start? How do I do that? So I'm actually going to compile a couple of videos on how to actually start to do it, start to get it, and sort of give an introduction into the powers of computation if you have access to industrial data, especially the public data set from Cognite, which is a cognitive fusion project that you can get real data from the industry from an oil platform in the North Sea. And I want to show more people how to do it, how to use it, yeah, learning the tools that we actually need to do that. There are some basic tools like learning how to do some Python coding, and for doing that I actually recommend you that you just go into I'm just gonna make myself a bit smaller, put me in the corner. So you just go to YouTube and then you search for CS50p, and at the top here you'll get a playlist. And this playlist is an amazing piece of video materials from Harvard. So it's Harvard's introduction into Python programming, and they also even set up a GitHub code space that you can work on. So everything that you need will be installed on a container running in the cloud or in your browser, because you go through these lectures and then you just go to code.cs50.io, and then you'll redirect it into cs50.dev, and then you log in with your personal GitHub account, and then you can learn the basics of Python, and then I can take you further. And after you've done that, I'm going to take you a bit further. So yeah, I think that's what you need to get started. And after you've done this, you'll just continue this video right here. So after you've done that, now it's about time to start up your WSL. I've made a video on how to set up a WSL environment that's linked below inside the video, so that you get the PyEnv and also sort of get an introduction into poetry instead of using pip. But initially, I want you to become familiar with something called the Jupyter Notebook. Although we're not going to use the Jupyter Notebook that much, but I have a couple of videos that I'm going to take you through the basics, because it's like it's like a manual screwdriver before you actually get your electric screwdriver, and before you start to actually adopt these proper DevOps practices and stuff like that. So what you can actually get if you just go to jupyter.org, it's really bright. You can install. How do we install it? Okay, pip install Jupyter Lab, and then just open Jupyter Lab. But first, let's cd into a directory. So we can make a directory, and let's call it industrial data. And let's cd into the industrial data, and here we actually have Python and these things running. So we can just pip, since it says there, pip install Jupyter Lab, then I can show you, or I can show you how to actually use a notebook. So like so, now it starts up, now it installs the notebooks and these things, and yeah, and also recommends me to pip install update pip. I will update pip. And now all that I need to do is just to execute Jupyter Notebook. But I also want to install a couple of libraries that you have to use in the next couple of videos. So that's Numba. And it's and also when you get Numba, you get something called NumPy. Everything sort of is based upon NumPy. And you get that when you install Numba. Pip install pandas. And pip install mat.lib. And pip install Seaborn. And these are like your main starter things that you need to do. Right now it's quite dirty, quite yeah. But if we just execute the Jupyter Notebook, then you see here that we can now start to run a Jupyter Notebook. So we just go into this this URL on a web browser, and you actually see here that we're in a Jupyter environment. Here you can create a new text file, can create a new Python file. So if we just go import OS here, OS, so you see here you can do whatever. You see that you execute Python code here, so 2 plus 2, and you get that 4, or print hello world. And also you see that we installed the NumPy, so import NumPy as NP. That's like very typical, and now we have access to NumPy. NumPy a range. Now you get an array from 1 to 9, and it seems to work. And now we can actually check out the next couple of videos, because a lot of things are available to you. And also, if you want to pip install something else, you can if you start with an exclamation mark, and you can pip install. You actually execute terminal commands inside this Jupyter Notebook. From there, pip install. What is something that we can install? Plotly Express. I think that will be nice to have as well. And now you see that you get the Plotly Express here. And now you have Numba installed. If you have NumPy, you have pandas, and you have matplotlib, and you have Seaborn, and Plotly Express. And you will learn these libraries, or get the basic introduction in the next couple of videos, using this Jupyter Notebook here that you can use to do this. So this is very useful, but this is a very exploratory tool to use, this Jupyter Notebook. And when we actually want things to become more repeatable and DevOpsy and with way better software practices, then we'll have a look into that as well. But first you need to learn the very basics about some computation, some collections of data, and learning the difference between series and data frames. Matplotlib and Seaborn, those are two plotting libraries. Seaborn is actually built on top of Matplotlib, but they're quite pretty, and even prettier is like this Plotly Express thing. And Plotly is also a tool that you will possibly learn later in your life as well, if you want to create something that's called Plotly-app. But yeah, it's a start. Yeah, I think I went a bit fast through this, but I can show you a bit quick about this UI. So if we just go back here, you see that it's called untitled.python notebook, the file that we sort of viewed and created here. But if I go up here, I can rename it to first, or intro, yeah, sure. And if I go back to here, you see that it's intro.ipynb. So the file extension here stands for IPython Notebook. Previously it was IPython Notebook, but now it's Jupyter. It's because more languages has come in to start to use this Jupyter thing. It stands for Julia, Python, and R, which are like the different languages that you can use this for, but we only have Python installed on this system. So I can just briefly just show you a bit around here first. To actually execute these cells, say a equals 5, and you want to execute that, you can press the run button there. That executes it and says the number of where it actually is running. But now if we ask for a, then you see that this a is of course 5 then. But you saw that I didn't press this run. It's because if you press shift and enter, then you actually execute this. It's quite essential. And yeah, many things can happen. You can have code cells. You can also have markdown cells, so where you can actually heading cells, where you actually write different things with code. That's things that are executable. So that's quite nice. And if you ever create like something that takes too long, or something that's an eternal infinitesimal while loop, so something like this, and you execute that while true, and now you see that this is executing, but it's gonna go here forever. If you want to cancel this out, you go to kernel and you can interrupt it. Now we've keyboard interrupted it, but you also see here that you can have these keyboard shortcuts as well that are mentioned here. And that's quite nice, because this would have run forever. And then you can clear all outputs and everything seems nice. And if you mark it like this and you hit double D, then you delete the cell. That's quite nice. And you also have the references to the typical libraries that you use, and you also have keyboard shortcut overview here. Also, a thing that's nice, if you print something and you're inside a function that you can call, if you press Shift and Tab, then you can actually get what's called the doc string, or some information about the function that you're in. So that's also quite nice. I think that's what you need to start to go into the next couple of videos. So yeah, good luck.